I'm Daniel Neal. I'm the founder, chairman, and CEO of Kajeet. Kajeet's, I think, interesting to look at in the context of the landscape of MVNOs around the globe. We began as the world's first cell phone for kids with parental controls, and we did that as an MVNO long ago on the Sprint network. And we've pivoted over the years. We're not that anymore. And I think a lot of MVNOs can relate to the fact that you have to grow and change and adapt to events, both at the company level, but also in the marketplace. And today, Kajeet is really an IoT solutions platform built upon a wide range of networks that we make use of, and to which we add a great deal of software and value in terms of provisioning and BI, AI, security, policy controls, filtering, and other software-based capabilities that really take a wide range of wireless networks and turn them into solutions for what we call the high-value IoT segment. And that's often, not just a thing, but it's often a people in a thing. It's a driver with a tablet. It's a student with a Chromebook. It's a library patron with some other device or capability so they can make use of the internet. We have evolved from a voice and data MVNO into really a pure data MVNO. So for those of my colleagues across the world in the MVNO community who've seen that kind of change, we've watched consumer and enterprise patterns of consumption change dramatically over the years. And that's been really our journey from that very first voice and data kid's cell phone that we became briefly famous for, to something that's today very focused, exclusively focused really on the enterprise and institutional market to serve people with hybrid collections of networks on top of which we had a lot of software value. In telecommunications and wireless telecommunications, it's notoriously a mass market kind of business. Its scale is rewarded, and with scale, I think very highly correlated with scaling is a distance from the consumer or from the enterprise, from the precise needs of your customer. And so the rewards for all the PTTs in the world and all the large facilities-based carriers that we all work together with to deliver greater value to the market in tandem is pretty interesting to me, because as those highly scaled facility-based carriers get larger, a lot of needs are left behind. And that's where the MVNO community has really shown and added value to the market, to be aware of, to listen to engage at a very micro level, whether it's the needs of a particular ethnic group, whether it's the needs of a particular vertical of industry, whether it's the needs relating to, in Kajeet's case, also closing the digital divide, which is a stark problem here in the United States, and I believe in plenty of other markets across the world. And all of those attentions that the MVNO community can bring to bear on those consumer and enterprise and institutional challenges really helps develop a much more attuned product and or service for the end users in a way that I think is very difficult for those very large, super scaled mass market providers to do. And that's really the gist of the opportunity here for MVNOs, and the opportunity for the facilities-based carriers too, to get deeper, to deliver greater value, to reach people and really consumer and enterprise problems that have not yet been reached and solved with the kind of this collective set of miracles of wireless technology. We get very close to customers as MVNOs, closer, again, as I said, than those mass market facility space carriers. We're just so, the relationship is so close. And in a way, the closeness gives us some freedom to understand the challenges. ESG is a very popular set but it's a little buzzword out there. Environmental, social governance, and kind of getting things right in a societal sense. And I think it's unavoidable. The closer you are to your customers and to your market, the more unavoidable it is to be attuned to those needs that relate to the environment and social issues, and proper and good governance. And I think that you can't. You're right up close. You're living in the same neighborhood, so to speak. I think if you talk to many of my MVNO company colleagues, you'd find that they live right in the community that they serve with their business that they built in partnership with one or more carriers. So those words really become part of the fabric of the business case and the business model that we MVNOs have. And we're certainly we live basically in this partnership, in this ecosystem with carriers. And again, I think it's also by being closer and delivering every little bit more counts when you're attuned to the customer and getting more value out of these massive investments in wireless networks and in the spectrum and in the physical networks themselves. We MVNOs collectively are really able to just get right into these niches that are that have such opportunities for us to do good things in that ESG sense, if you will. MVNOs exist because they're best at understanding and listening to their customers. And I like to tell people, a lot of my colleagues in the MVNO community are owners. They own their companies, or with investors, they are amongst the ownership groups. So they're truly responsible. And I'm in that community too. And I take that very seriously. And so one of the things people will find me saying pretty frequently is, my boss is my customer. It's the marketplace, but more specifically, it's a collection of individual customers. That's who I work for. So this is something we can do that's pretty extra special. And again, it gets right back to that closeness to the consumer, listening, understanding their needs, problems they haven't yet solved, and new ways of just taking the existing huge capabilities we have at our fingertips with the data networks we have and voice networks as well, and increasingly software that we can bring to bear on those networks. That's really something Kajeet is famous for. I have around the company, I'm known for saying more software, but that doesn't mean we're not also doing more networks. Both are true, but the mashup or combination of the two, combined with that proximity, that close proximity to customers, that's really a differentiator for the set of companies that's across the globe here. Last I checked, my numbers may be out of date, but last I checked, there were over 800 MVNOs around the planet Earth, and there are probably many more now. I don't keep up with that number as closely as some, but the MVNO Nation will know all about that. But that's what's really special about that community of companies. One of the issues we're well known for approaching is digital equity. I'm mission driven, and when I first started the company, and we were the first cell phone for kids with parental controls, the idea was to really thoughtfully, I think that's an important word, to thoughtfully apply wireless technology to solutions that parents cared about. And as we got into that, we learned a lot about kids and their parents and the community of kids and what was available to them in terms of technology. Now, we launched that product back in 2000. Well, we did a beta back in 2006, so it's quite a while ago, and then went commercial in 2007. Along the way, we discovered here in the United States that, to use a current number, anywhere from 12 to 15 million US kids do not have access to the internet. And as the market moved from voice to data, and as over the years, more and more of children's homework was put online, and school became as much online as as in person, or to some degree more and more online. We found there was something called the homework gap. And about 12 years ago, we launched a product called the Smart Spot here in the US, which was designed to work with any device and multiple networks, but to give, instead of to parents, the capability to manage policy and filtering and controls and time of day and all of that, to give it over to educators so that mobile devices could be used as part of the curriculum of schools, to help close that homework gap for so many kids who, unlike children from affluent families, children who didn't have the internet were increasingly disadvantaged. So that whole digital equity or inequity problem caught our attention many, many years ago. It should be obvious from what we've all just gone through with COVID, that this exacerbated disconnects. When COVID arrived and schools in the United States, I'll speak for my market here in the principal market in the US. We also serve Canada and some places abroad, but we're mostly focused in the US. In our market here, schools shut down. And so those children who had basically had to endure what we had previously called the homework gap, now we're facing an entire education gap. It was an education, and it was an opportunity gap. It was an equity gap. And we stepped in, and our solutions really leaned in and to serve more and more schools, and also libraries and other institutions, Native American tribes, a whole raft of organizations and institutions that were focused on educating and taking care of kids. Now, that has also expanded into areas of healthcare, telehealth, remote patient monitoring, transportation, and other areas where the gap is there. So digital equity is a nice buzzword, but it's real down in the marketplace. And Kajeet has very deeply focused on understanding what that digital inequity is about, and then crafting solutions, technology solutions that serve to eliminate those gaps, those inequities, and importantly, to do so in a way that is guided by educators, that is guided by people in our Native American tribes, that is guided by people running nonprofits, delivering services to kids and others who need to be connected, not just because we can do it, but because it's the right and just thing to do.